The conversation tonight is with Dick DeAngelis. It's a name you're likely not familiar with, but he's in the process of creating an 8-part video series on the history of the city of Fairfield. Pat Brink spoke with him recently and has this story.
This project is truly a labor of love for Dick DeAngelis, and most of the video you'll see in this report is from footage that he shot that may end up in the final project. The history project started simply enough. He wanted to know more about the history of the city he's called home for most of his life.
Before we became Fairfield.
I've lived here 40 years now, and I'm kind of curious as to who lived here before me and how did they contribute to make Fairfield the town that it is today. And so I started on a journey that's taken me now 1 year, and we're finally finished filming the first film.
The first film in the series is Life Before Fairfield. It covers everything before 1800. That may seem out of place for a series on the history of the city, but it's all part of DeAngelis' plan to produce a documentary that isn't boring and that's as accurate as possible.
Our state archaeologist office has given us tremendous amount of support in resources so that we get the story right.
The budget for each of these films is quite small, about $15,000 each. So that means volunteers and others just willing to help, as well as professionals who are working for reduced rates, are the people making the history project move forward.
And so far, we haven't really even done much asking, and we have 40 contributors, of some of them over $1,000, the businesses and some of our local banks, etc., who have stepped forward and said, hey, we're in.
Filming on the first segment in the series is now completed, and it's on to the editing.
We've been, for the last 3 days, working on the first rough edit of Life Before Fairfield, and it's going really well.
DeAngelis is hopeful to have this first in the series, Life Before Fairfield, completed by this fall, so that he can then turn his attention to the other 7 episodes, which are Heroes of Fairfield, Fairfield Firsts and Economic Development, Parsons College, Maharishi University, the history of agriculture and farming, the influence of artists and musicians, and of course, the future of Fairfield. It's a good thing that this is a labor of love for him, because there's a lot of work ahead.